And drop a like on the video. Fantastic work by the Draughty Devil as per usual. But today's show is all about Zlatan Ibrahimovic and who will be his replacement this summer, because there will be a replacement. You cannot lose a player of that quality. £300,000 a week, 28 goals in around 40 games. He has delivered. Yes, he's missed chances, but he has delivered. And replacing that will be key to how successful Manchester United actually are next season. And we have got 6 big targets that we believe that Manchester United will be looking at this summer, and a couple of shocks in there for you as well. But where do we start? Well, let's start off with a lad I really like. I've mentioned him quite a lot on the United stand before. Icardi at Inter Milan. Now, if you know anything about him, he doesn't get picked for Argentina because he slept with someone's wife. So did Ryan Giggs, so we won't judge him on that. Also, he is a player that I think he's about 5'11". I think he's about 22, 23, 24. Captain of Inter Milan, a real character. Fell out with the Ultras this season because of a bit of a reaction to an away game. But if you think Zlatan's an enigma, Cantona's an enigma, then Icardi is certainly an enigma as well. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's very passionate as a footballer. He's very skillful. He's very quick. He's very good in the box. And for somebody who's 5'11", there is a 6-inch difference between Zlatan. I'm talking height, nothing else. He is somebody that can hold the ball up really well. He's contracted till 2021. He's actually just turned 24. Thanks everybody who let me know there. I'm a big fan of Icardi. He said he's handpicked Inter Milan. Chelsea are sort of linked to him as well. But if we got him in this summer, I would be absolutely ecstatic. There's not a massive amount linking us to him, but if we did get him, I think he'd be absolutely perfect. And he's got the passion and tenacity and hot-headedness to be that enigma like a Cantona, like I said. The next one I want to talk about is the first one on the list below, is Aubameyang. Obviously, Aubameyang is a player that we would love to have at Manchester United, a very good striker. In fact, somebody's just said there, why doesn't anybody ever sign anybody from Sevilla? Because they've done quite well in the past. It's a good point about Sevilla. To be honest, the only thing I like from Sevilla or Spain is their oranges. So no one from Sevilla on the list today, unfortunately. But Aubameyang is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang of Borussia Dortmund. Now, he's slightly older than everybody else. He's not as tall as I thought. I always thought he was 6'3". He's actually 6'1.5". He's somebody who can run the line. He's somebody who's decent in the air. He's very quick. He's good off both feet. I think he'd score goals for fun in the Premier League. But he has openly said that he wants to go and play in La Liga because it's a promise to his grandfather, which means that only Real Madrid or Barcelona are probably realistic. But I do like Aubameyang. He is contracted till 2020. Icardi, somebody just said, how much would Icardi cost? Well, he's contracted till 2021. He is Inter Milan's captain, but there's that little bit of tension between him and the Ultras. There's a very good working relationship between Mourinho and Inter Milan. There's a good chance that you'd get him for about £50 million. I would say the same for Aubameyang as well, because he's got a year left on his contract at 2020. Both of them would be absolutely perfect for Manchester United. In many ways, they'd be my first 2 choices. One, because I just love Icardi. I think he'd be Cantona-esque. And 2, for Aubameyang, because I just think he'd score loads of goals. He's quick and he's big, and he'd be perfect as our number 9 for Manchester United. Slightly older, he turns 28 in June, but you'd get, what, 3-4 years out of him? I just think it's probably not going to happen, because he probably would go to La Liga. It's a heavy yellow theme today, says Alex Cook. It's our new studio. Summer is approaching. We've run it, and this will be our transfer show for the summer. So drop a like on it. Brilliant work from Draughty Devil. Loving it. And we want to mix things up for you. Of course. It's not a Dortmund channel. It's a transfer studio, Red Pikey. It's not a Dortmund channel, although I was talking about Aubameyang, so I'll give you that. The next one, obviously, we've got to talk about Lukaku. It's not my most exciting one. I really want to talk about Kasper Dolberg, but he is next after Lukaku. Zlatan is irreplaceable, says CJ Party Times. I think that's a very good point to make. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is going to be a big loss. I know people are getting all excited because we're not going to play Zlatan now for the rest of the season, and we're going to use the pace and this, that and the other. But the goals, the leadership, the air of invincibility that Zlatan gives is a huge loss to us. We'll see it in the next few weeks. I just hope we can get Champions League football. I was talking about this to Draughty last night, actually. He was saying Champions League, rest in peace. I still think we can do it, but it's going to be a Herculean... Can't even get the word. It's going to take a big effort. And Zlatan will be very hard to replace, which is where I want to just throw 2 things in before I talk about Lukaku and the other 3 we've got to talk about. A bit left field, Wayne Rooney, replacement for Zlatan. Now, before you go mad, everyone expects Rooney to go this summer. If he showed any sort of form over the next few weeks, I think that Mourinho might think about keeping him for another year, because he has got a couple of years left on his contract. He is a leader in the dressing room, apparently, not really on the pitch. And he is, you know, an enigma, somebody that Mourinho has liked in the past, somebody who's already here. I just got a funny, just bit left field, but I could see Rooney staying and sort of, you know, maybe having a second summer at Manchester United. I don't think he's capable of it, but I'm just throwing it out there. And the second thing I wanted to say, staying with Manchester United, because a lot of people will think this, well, is there anybody who can come through from the youth? The short answer is no. We've got Rashford. There is no striker in the youth setup who is anywhere near being ready to play for the first team, and certainly nowhere near the quality of somebody like Rashford, let alone somebody who could come in and replace Zlatan. So we are going to have to buy. We will buy at least one striker. We may buy two. Abdullah's on about Morata. I'm going to talk about Morata. I like Morata a lot, and I'm going to hopefully convince of you lot that I would be excited by Morata. But let's talk Lukaku. Lukaku's interesting. Lukaku, I sort of want to throw him into the equation with Kylian Mbappe at Monaco, because the big thing about these two players is that they are very different, and I know most of us would want Mbappe, 18 years of age, ripping it up on the world stage, probably going to be a world superstar, can be anything he wants to be. Fast, skillful, very clinical finisher. We'd love him at Manchester United. Di Marzio said Mourinho would love him at Manchester United. Whether we can get him or not, who knows? And I think that there's a complex web here that I was talking about before. That Aubameyang probably going to go this summer, Barcelona or Real Madrid. Probably Real Madrid. So if he goes to Real Madrid, are they going to get Mbappe as well when they've already got Bale and Ronaldo? I can't see that. So if Real Madrid decides to go for Mbappe, and Barcelona, are they going to get Aubameyang when they've got MSN? I can't see that. So maybe Aubameyang becomes available for Manchester United. Or if Real Madrid get Aubameyang, maybe Mbappe becomes available for Manchester United. So very interesting summer around the top tables. And the reality is Manchester United need a number 9. Even if Zlatan stays at Manchester United, he's not going to be fit until Christmas, if he's ever fit again. And I said it last night, and it is harsh. It is harsh, but there was a brilliant comment by somebody on Twitter this morning, and I thought, you know what, you're right. Zlatan and Raiola's hardball tactics of, oh, we're not committing to Manchester United, we'll see what happens, has backfired massively. And some people will say, well, you know what, it's about time that happened to agents and player power, because they wouldn't commit to Manchester United. We know that United wanted him to commit. He wouldn't commit. I'll wait and see what happens in the summer. His knee goes, and now United should say, well, you know what, we wanted you. You did want to play hardball. I think Zlatan was off to America or China anyway, to be honest. And I love him, but it's business. He's on £300,000 a week, and we cannot afford to pay him another season's wages. We can't afford it. It's a risk. And to be honest, I think the red flag has been there with Zlatan anyway, with his lack of pace. So he must go, and Manchester United must sign somebody, and we, probably more than anybody in world football, need a number 9. So it's going to be very, very interesting who we get. So Mbappe, Aubameyang, I think, are sort of intertwined as to who will go where in Spain, because I think it leaves us to pick up the other player, and I'd be happy with either. But Lukaku and Mbappe both have a contract till 2019, which is interesting. It's not like Michael Caine or Ross Barkley or Alexis Sanchez, whose contracts are up in 2018. If your contract's up in 2018, the club they are at, so Alexis Sanchez, let's just say, Alexis Sanchez has got to go this summer. He's got to go this summer, because if he's going to go, because Arsenal won't get anything for him otherwise. So I've just realised something, actually. Bear with me. You should still be able to hear me. But the last thing I want to happen is for this live stream to go anywhere while I'm up and live. And as much as I'm brilliant at setting up live streams, I'm not brilliant at remembering to chuck my adapter in. And if my adapter's not in, there is a big chance that we could just run out of power and run out of a live stream. Aha! I'm back. So, yeah. So, Alexis Sanchez, Arsenal, Ross Barkley, Michael Keane, they'll go this summer because the club needs to get something for them. Because if they don't, they go for free in January because they can start talking to other clubs. Lukaku and Mbappe, their contract's not up until 2019. So, Everton are desperately trying to get him to sign a new contract. But they've more or less said, well, we'll keep hold of him anyway, because even if we keep him for next season. He'll go cheaper next summer, but it makes them easier to get hold of, I believe. I think Lukaku 50 million, I think Mbappe probably 70 million, something like that. So they're both available. Lukaku, flat track bully, we've probably missed that this year. Premier League proven. I wouldn't be disappointed if we signed Lukaku, and I must make this very clear. But I don't think he's top talent. I don't think he's a title-winning striker. I don't think he's a Champions League winning striker. I think he is a very good Premier League striker who would score a lot of goals, but in the big games, when you want him to pull something out, I think he'd be fine wanting. Whereas Mbappe or Icardi or Aubameyang, I think that in the big games, they can pull something out. I'm not dismissing Lukaku because I know a lot of you want him, but I think it's been proven. He'll score a lot of goals against the lesser sides, but when he plays Manchester United, he goes missing. And if he wants to come to Manchester United, you've got to turn up. And in the past, people did, whether it was Andy Cole playing for Newcastle, or, you know, I remember Collymore coming to Old Trafford at Forest and scoring. You know, if you want to come to United, and he very nearly did, you've got to perform against United. And I don't think people understand that. They're like, oh, well, he scored against Arsenal. If he wants to come to United, you've got to turn up against United, and we deal with him too easy. Plus, Mourinho got rid of Lukaku, and he'd seen plenty of him. I can't see Lukaku coming to United, but if he does, he does. And again, I would believe that Mourinho can do something with him, but I have my concerns, the same I have with Michael Keane. Mbappe, as I said, we could end up getting him. Very interesting player. We are interested in him. Whether we can do that deal or not, I don't know. Kasper Dolberg at Ajax. You might not know anything about him. I don't think we'll sign him. This is from Drawty. He was very good with the youth players across Europe. He says you've got to mention him because he's a top talent at Ajax. A lot of clubs are looking at him. He'd be a fantastic player for Manchester United. You know what, for me, Liverpool really want him. Southampton are linked with him. I think his next move is not going to be to a top club. I think his next move will be to a sort of a lesser Premier League club like a Liverpool or a Southampton. That's where I think Dolberg will end up going. He's just turned 19. He's 6'1.5", and he is contracted at Ajax until 2021. Probably get him for about 30 million United. I bet Southampton get him for about 20 million. What's he like at 6'1"? You'd think, well, you know, is he going to be slow or everything like that? He's very much like a young Fernando Torres. So he's quick. He can hold the ball up. He's got skills. He can finish. He's very much a young Fernando Torres, which you sort of see why Liverpool are linked to him, because Torres obviously played for Liverpool. But I do like him. I've not seen a lot of him. Drawty's seen more than me. I don't think it ticks the boxes of what Manchester United are looking for because he's young. I think Manchester United will, if they're going to go young, they'll go Mbappe because he's proved it on the top level. Other than that, I think we're going to be looking at somebody around between the age of about 23 and 29, which is why Lukaku, Icardi, Aubameyang have been mentioned. Dybala's just signed a new contract for Juventus, so people are talking about him. Probably not. My Twitter is at Mark Goldbridge, and United Stand is at United Stand MUFC. I'm just answering a question there. So Kasper Dolberg, keep an eye on him at Ajax. Very good player. I think he'll be a very good player of the future. Very like Fernando Torres. Who wouldn't want a player like that? But I don't think it will work for Manchester United this summer, if I'm honest. And the last player I want to talk about, Morata. Now, Morata always gets linked to Manchester United every summer. He's gone back to Real Madrid from Juventus, where he was on some weird loan thing and they had first refusal. He went back last summer. We were linked to him. He went back last summer. He's not really played that many games for Real Madrid. Bit like James Rodriguez. I think both potentially will leave this summer, especially if Real Madrid are going to sign another striker, which I suspect they will do. I suspect they probably will sign Aubameyang. So Morata will leave. His contract at Real Madrid is till 2021. He's 6'2". He is, I think he's still very young. I think he's 23 or 24. And the thing about Morata is everywhere he goes, he scores goals. I mean, he's been likened to like a Fernando Morientes of the past or a Raul, but at 6'2", he can hold the ball up. He has a good finisher. He's got good speed. He is quite skillful. I think, funnily enough, Morientes came to Liverpool, didn't he? And he was a bit of a flop. But I think Morata, as a goal scorer and as a cheaper option as a replacement for Zlatan, I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, it's not the glamour signing I want. I want, you know, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, world-class symbol of football. Morata coming in as his replacement is a bit... But I do think that if if we're going to spend a lot of money on someone like Griezmann, then Morata, you probably get him for about 20, 30 million pounds. Or the trouble with Real Madrid is, and somebody just said it in the live comments there, any deal with Madrid is probably going to involve De Gea. But Morata and Casemiro, or Morata and Rodriguez for De Gea, I'll tell you what, if De Gea's adamant he wants to go back, I would do that deal. I think Morata would score goals in a Manchester United side. And at his age, he'd give us a few good years as well. And I think Morata sort of fits well if you're going to use Rashford a lot, because Morata wouldn't necessarily demand being the number 9 from the start. But if Rashford had a bit of an off period, he can be the number 9. I think it would work quite well. I mean, I've left him last because he's not really the glamour signing, but I would quite like Morata. I really would. And yeah, I would. Roy Martin, let's take some of your comments then. Roy Martin questioning whether Lukaku's Manchester United talent. I mean, from those players who we mentioned today, Icardi, Aubameyang, Lukaku, Mbappe, Dolberg, Morata. So 6 players, and Rooney. I don't think we will keep Rooney, but I would say it, and I would say it here first. As an outside chance, I think Rooney might have a chance if he does well over the next few weeks. Because I don't think Mourinho didn't want to lose Zlatan, and he's lost him now. And if he wasn't expecting to lose Zlatan, then it's May nearly, and it's like, what has he got in place? What can he get hold of? And he might just think, you know what, Wayne, I want you to stay. But we'll see what happens. But out of those players, who would be my choices? Well, number 1, I think personally, number 1 would be Aubameyang, just because he's got pace and height, and I think he'd score goals for fun in the Premier League. Number 2 would probably be Mbappe, because he excites me, not in that way. Number 3 would be Icardi. I really like Icardi, and I think he'd be a cult hero at Manchester United, and he gives everything, and he is a skillful player. Number 4, I think I would probably go with Morata. I just got a funny feeling he'd do well in a Manchester United shirt, and he's got the height as well. Number 5 would be Lukaku, and number 6 would be Dolberg, because he's a young lad and I just don't think he's ready for that sort of step up yet. Avdar says Morata's not good enough to play for United, and Andre Silva is far better, says Sanjoy. I mean, there will be people that I haven't met. Is Zlatan leaving the club? Says Hasblaze 2K17. I think it's out of his hands as to whether he's leaving the club. He's smashed his knee apart, so he won't be playing again till Christmas. Manchester United would be absolutely mad to keep him. I'd be quite angry. I mean, whatever my opinion matters, I would be quite angry if we said we're going to stand by Zlatan and keep him till Christmas, for 2 reasons. That'd be 300 grand a week for 6 months where he's not playing, and when he comes back, I mean, is he going to be anywhere near what he was before? This is a player who's got no pace, and Zlatan's biggest part of his game is jumping up and down and winning the ball. I mean, I can't doing that to your knee and being able to jump and land with impact. I think to be honest, if you're a player like that and you've done your knee, it's curtains. If he can get back and go and play in the MLS or China. Not top level Premier League player, I don't think so. Dominique says, what about Belotti? I like Belotti, but we've spoke about him before. I do like him, but things develop, and I think the players that we've mentioned today, that I would go with those. Icardi and Lukaku are the only Premier League strikers in my opinion, says Caleb. What about Thomas Muller, says Tyrone Williams. Good shout. Tyrone normally does make good shouts. Muller, for me, is he a number 9? He could play there. He could hold the ball up. You know, Muller could work. But I don't think Muller's coming to Manchester United. I think Muller was always going to come for Louis van Gaal. I don't think we could get Muller, to be honest. Although he's not playing regularly for Bayern Munich, so he is available. Muller, if we turned him into a number 9, could be really useful. Ronaldo, says Jake Lucar. I love Ronaldo to come back. Can't see it happening. Harry Kane, never going to happen. Elliott, no way. Spurs aren't going to sell anybody this summer. Is Rooney quicker than Zlatan, says Rude9 the Master. Last season, Rooney was the quickest player in our team, apparently, based on stats. But deceptive, isn't it? But yeah, he would be quicker. Bevis Coke saying, Belotti is a very good player technically, but he's very slow. I don't think he's that slow, to be honest. What do I think of Joshua King, says Vince Chapman. I think it'd be a risk to go and get someone like that for Manchester United. I mean, the reality is, and I'll go back to what I said before, we're replacing Zlatan Ibrahimovic. We're not replacing Danny Welbeck. We're replacing Zlatan Ibrahimovic, one of the world's best strikers, and he proved he's still one of the best world strikers this season. You've got to replace him with somebody like that. You can't. That's why I said no to Dolberg. That's why I'd say no to Lukaku. You've got to replace them with somebody of that status. I think Icardi can do it. I think Aubameyang can do it. I think Mbappe can do it. That's what I would be going for, the best we can get. Muller's struggling this season, says Darth Vader. Benzema, says Sean Magnan. Somebody mentioned him. I don't want Benzema. He's turned us down so many times in the past. But he probably would do a very good job. Will Dybala fit into Man United's squad, says Red Pikey. He's not. Dybala keeps getting mentioned. He's just signed a new contract. BJ says, what about Alexander Lacazette? He's just a French Jermaine Defoe. I'm sorry. Doesn't mean he wouldn't score goals, but he's not. He wouldn't be great at Manchester United. Marcus Royce, not a striker. Why not Alexis Sanchez, says Adam Atkinson. I mean, Alexis Sanchez would be perfect. He's got a year left on his contract. He's going to go this summer. But as I said when I did the video 3 weeks ago, if Alexis Sanchez wants to come to Manchester United, we will get that deal done. I don't think he wants to come to Manchester United. So I'm not begging for an Arsenal player. You've got to look elsewhere. I'd be ecstatic if we got Alexis Sanchez, Premier League proven, fantastic player. But is Alexis Sanchez a number 9? I think when we're talking about Icardi, 5'11", or Aubameyang, 6'1.5", you're talking about somebody who can come and fill the shoes physically of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Can Sanchez do that? Can he hold the ball up? Morata can. You know, you've got to look for a certain sort of player. Aguero, says Seth. I can't see that happening either. Neymar, yeah. You know what? The one thing about Ed Woodward is he wants Galacticos at Manchester United, and whether you like that or not, when you're talking about a replacement for Zlatan, it's got to be the best we can get hold of. And some players we won't be able to get hold of, but we should. Don't mention Cavani to me. If you've watched United stand long enough, I'm not a fan of Cavani at all. I would not want Cavani. Martial in the middle again. Well, we'll see what happens tomorrow. A lot of people going on about Lukaku, thinking he'd be good. Look, if we sign Lukaku, I will back him because Mourinho signed him. I personally don't think he is a top striker. I think he's a very good striker. I think he's a very good Premier League striker. But I always say this, Kevin Phillips and Darren Bent were very good Premier League strikers. Doesn't mean they could score goals for Manchester United at the top level. But, like Michael Keane, if Mourinho signs Lukaku and Michael Keane, I've got my reservations, but they will disappear if Mourinho signs them. Because if he believes they can be Manchester United players, then I back Mourinho, because I think he knows what he's on about. There are lots of other players out there. There are lots of other players. Somebody just said that. But we need top talent. Top talent. And Aguero would be my first choice, says Biarritz. Aguero's not got the height, though, has he? Thierry Henry says Andy Carroll has. Yeah, whatever. Chicharito, Elliot Blur says, I think Chicharito coming back, I wouldn't be opposed to doing it. We spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. But as a replacement for Zlatan, no. But as another striker, yes. I mean, I think we're short of strikers. Remember, Rooney probably goes as well. This season, we've been Zlatan or Rashford, haven't we? It's not enough for a club like Manchester United because Rooney's not delivered. Martial's not had a great season. So we've had Rashford and Zlatan. You should have at least 3. So bringing Hernandez back would be a good move because then you'd have 3 strikers, wouldn't you? Lamar from Monaco is class, says Adam Atkinson. Dolberg's good, says Fully. Can we get Robban for a season, says Red Devil Supremacy. Well, he's a winger. He's not going to replace Zlatan. Mertens, says Luke Bashian. Gabbiadini from Southampton, says Zabardino. It costs a lot of money and there'd be doubts whether he could do it at the top level. Griezmann can play number 9, says United in the Stands chance. Yeah, a few people have said Griezmann. I said on Twitter, please don't say Griezmann. And people are like, well, he's not a number 10. He can play up front. Of course Griezmann can play up front, but he's not Zlatan. We need, and you've seen it from the way Mourinho plays, he's not going to put somebody who's not physically great as a number 9 up front. He wants and always has had a powerful striker up front. And it won't be Griezmann up front. How about Higuain, says 100. He cost a fortune. He cost a fortune. How much did Napoli pay for him? 60 million? And also, the thing about Higuain is he does miss a lot. So if you think if you get frustrated with Zlatan, who scores a lot of goals but misses a lot, you get the same with Higuain. Van Persie, I'd love him back. We never should have let him go, but he's finished really now as a top striker. It's not Borussia Dortmund colours, it's our new transfer studio. If you like it, please do drop a like. We'll be using this studio throughout the summer. It's its debut tonight for transfer shows. On the watch along tomorrow, back to the red. It's just for transfer shows because the United Stand has historically always been big on transfers through the summer. With you and people like Jorty and myself, got a good understanding of European football and world football, and love talking about players that probably won't come to Manchester United, but it's exciting to think that they may. And the reality is, nobody knows who the number 9 for Manchester United will be next year. But I think we've spoken about a good few targets today, and just bear it in mind about Rooney. Just got a funny feeling that he might get into this Zlatan injury could give Rooney a reprieve at Manchester United. Thanks everybody for watching. Please do drop a like on the video. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. It's lovely here in sunny old England. I'm going to go and keep an eye on the Premier League fixtures, which are about to start. Loads of you watching, so please do drop a like. Lots of content on the channel. Back tomorrow. Kickoff's at 2, I think, so 1 o'clock we'll be live with the team news for the watch along. Join us for that. Big exciting games for Manchester United as per usual. Tactics preview will be on my channel, Mark Goldbridge channel, tonight at around 8 o'clock. It will go live. Mark Goldbridge, just click onto it now, drop a subscribe, and you'll get a notification when I do go live. That's my FIFA with the live comments, how I think United will line up, how we beat Burnley. About 20 minutes, half an hour. That'll be later on, about 8 o'clock tonight. So I'll see you on my channel for that if you're going to join me. If not, and you are watching live, please do drop a like. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. And if you're not watching live, get in the comments, start the debate. I want to see your thoughts, because I've given you my 6. Get commenting below on what you think, because we've got to replace Zlatan now. He's gone till Christmas, regardless. Even if he stays, which I disagree with, who are you going to play between the most important period of the season? We're not winning the title this year, and we're battling for top 4 because of the amount of points we dropped between September and Christmas. We can't wait for Zlatan. We've got to hit the ground running. We've got to get somebody of top talent in at number 9. Who would you get in? I've given you my 6. Who would you do it? And I'll come back later on in a couple of hours and start interacting with you, because I'd be interested to see if there are players out there that you'd prefer to what we've mentioned there. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you soon, and please do drop a like just for the work that Drawty's done on the transfer studio. Absolutely fantastic. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll speak to you all tonight if you're going to watch on the Mark Goldbridge channel.